There we go. Hello, hello. Welcome to She's Connected. This group is for the stressed and overwhelmed moms who need to pause and connect to God herself and her kids. Now, we're talking about being super tired, and my computer is super tired, I guess. This morning we had a tiny power outage. And that shouldn't really make a difference. We just have to like reset all of your clocks. But my computer is being really challenged by this occurrence. It took a very long time to start, and some things are not opening. And then there are other things that are opening that I didn't click on. And so it's all kind of like, processing a little bit differently. It's running pretty slow. I get that rainbow loading wheel every time I click on anything. And I'm just like, again, you have to take longer to think. You're supposed to think quicker than me. Technology is awesome when it works. So I do have it going, I believe. And everything's here. Okay. I was hoping that this would not affect our live, and then moments before the live, I click on that like go live button and it's taking forever to load. So sorry I am a couple minutes late, but well, let's just dive in. I'm Cherry, mom of 9 plus baby on the way. Baby's 36 weeks. In my apps, it says as big as a papaya, although have you ever eaten a papaya? I have never cut open a papaya, actually maybe once, but I do not know if they mean it weighs as much as a papaya or it is the size of a papaya. But another app said that our baby is the size of a Cabbage Patch doll. Here is the belly. I can't believe it. I'm having trouble with all this. Like my shirt doesn't even cover the belly. I don't have very many pants that actually stretch big enough. It's just crazy. Oh, difficult fitting into clothes, moving around with all this extra weight. I am definitely feeling the extra weight. And we still have a few weeks to go, but baby is looking good and the anticipation is definitely building. I'm in Springfield, Missouri, inspiring families and moms like you to live a life connected to God. Let me know in the comments where you're watching from, whether you're watching live or on that replay. It's always good to see and hear you in the comments, and that also helps other people in the group. Hello, Tina. It helps other people in the group see our comments too, because Facebook is Facebook. They don't always show you everything, but when people get talking about a topic, they show it to more people. So thank you so much, Tina, for showing up in the comments. This week, we're talking about his strength again, and the topic is super tired, like my computer here. Welcome to High Five Friday. Woo! How was your week? What is God showing you right now? Share your story in the comments if you can, because I believe that God is talking to all of us in many different ways. So just share with sharing with others helps us realize it more. I think that's the best part. So I think the topic on my mind this week was preparation. I feel like the daily lists are getting longer and longer because of all the preparations. Christmas is coming, the holiday season. What is extra on your list because of this season? And then we're also in our family preparing for this baby to be here. So lots of things to do to get ready. It's exciting and terrifying at the same time. It definitely affects my sleep. So, how about you? Are there any things keeping you up at night? Let me know in the comments. Psalm 3, verse 5 says, I can lie down and go to sleep, and I will wake up again because the Lord protects me. Okay, moms, do you have trouble sleeping? This verse could become a breath prayer for anyone struggling with sleep. I can sleep because you protect me, God. Yes, I can sleep. I can sleep. You are with me, God. That is so comforting and something that I am going to make a habit of repeating during my bedtime routine or when I'm laying in bed, worrying and thinking about all the things. Hazel was our first baby, and she was extremely colicky. She was a fussy baby that required constant contact to have any type of calm in her body. I mean, I would have to lay her on my lap and be patting her back and her butt in order for her to like relax. When she was born, Ted, my husband, he worked 10-hour shifts per day. And we also decided to move into a family member's house to save money. But that house was an hour away from his job. So he was gone for 12 hours or more. And then when he was home, what was he doing? Sleeping. I was constantly taking care of this colicky baby, Hazel, and I was exhausted. And while I held myself together with snuggles and smiles and a repeated reminder that this is just a blip on the radar of life, after months of very little sleep, I was struggling. I was a first time mom and I started thinking maybe something was wrong. Or maybe I just didn't know how to do this motherhood thing. Although I went through the motions of my day, things that I could typically process, like rationally, they left me feeling nervous and overwhelmed. Sleep deprivation was getting to me. I mean, they use sleep deprivation as a tactic for torture because it is torturous. I would often find myself thinking of all the nights of solid sleep I had gotten before, like prior to being married. And then I felt upset that I'd taken it for granted. Then fast forward several years, I had 6 kids under 7 and didn't even know what sleep meant anymore. So that colicky baby, Hazel, prepared me for the years of sleeplessness that was ahead. Enough rest gave me endurance, creativity, willpower, this mental clarity and strength that I didn't realize I'd had. And by enough rest, I mean like a good stretch of a couple hours or maybe 3 hours. That did me so much. It was just wonderful. Without rest, the pieces of life were hard to hold together. Daily activities were difficult to complete. Questions were hard to answer, and everyday problems were intimidating to solve. I felt like a zombie mom running on autopilot, just getting through each day. And it felt really impossible to read my Bible and just be with God. How much of my day to day performance had been held together by adequate sleep? In the midst of endless days, I was quick to like scold myself for falling behind. So here I am, a mom taking care of lots of kids, not getting the sleep that I should be getting. And I would be mean to myself because I fell behind on things. I was really quick to tell myself that no one cared if I didn't sleep well because most of my days were spent with little kids. They didn't care about your sleep. They are all about themselves. My thoughts and internal monologue, they did not help the situation. Because now I was tired and then ashamed of being tired. And then that showed in my attitude. Oh boy. Maybe babies or a bunch of little kids are not keeping you up at night. But does something else disrupt your rest? Maybe worrying about loved ones or those late night texts or lack of texts from your teenager. Do you have unexpected insomnia? Maybe you have household sicknesses or health issues. What about those transitions in schedule or when you change up your sleeping arrangements? I was always so nervous when we moved our kids from like a crib to a toddler bed or a toddler bed to a big kid bed. Or when we decided to move a kid into a different room, or when you have kids sharing spaces and then you separate them, or you have kids that are separate and you put them together. It always made me so nervous. Those changes always seemed to disrupt my sleep. And that was not even because the kids kept me awake. Most of the time, I would disrupt my own sleep worrying about the kids not sleeping and their adjustments and all the stuff. It's so crazy. Oh, it looks like Rosa and Denise are here. Hello, hello. That's awesome. Rosa, you are not that late. My computer was running slow and it didn't work right away anyway. Oh, and Denise says many reasons, thinking and all the things I need to do that next day. I worry about those things too. We just worry. We're always constantly thinking about tomorrow and what we need to do. And then she listens to her husband snoring or the dog. That I'm just laughing, not at you. I am laughing with you because I do the same thing. Ted can fall asleep in like 3 seconds. I think I've counted before when we say goodnight. And then like he's breathing heavy 3 seconds later. I'm like, how can you get to sleep that fast? Sometimes, oh, sometimes you're feeling hot or uncomfortable and you have back pain. We have all the setup, you know, you got to have your 5 pillows in a certain place. I got to have between the legs. Now I got this big belly. I got to make sure it's like supported and all that stuff. I totally understand. There are so many things and reasons that keep us from getting sleep. Oh boy. So Denise gets 4 to 5 hours a night and she always feels tired. We are exhausted. Oh, that's awesome. Okay, so Tina, she has pains in her legs from working on her feet for decades. Oh, yeah. I mean, I did not have to work on my feet for decades, but all of my pregnancy pains now are really keeping me awake. So I can really relate to that. And Rosa, I keep trying and trying and I keep missing it. Facebook doesn't notify you. That's exactly what I was talking about earlier when I asked for like, oh, get in the comments because it will tell other people. Facebook is weird. It does not tell us what's going on. And it's so strange. So I'm glad you made it here, Rosa. Whether the deprivation goes on for days or weeks or years, most people are familiar with this feeling of going without adequate sleep at some time in their life. The weakness you feel in this state, it's not imagined. Sleep is as necessary to daily survival as your heart beating and your lungs breathing. It's like food or water. It isn't a nice to have if you're able to. Sleep actually impacts nearly every system of your body. God designed us to need rest. He made it a requirement for our rejuvenation and our function. There was an article posted on Healthline by, I believe it's a doctor, but he has a very strange name, Raj Dasgupta. I probably said it wrong, sorry. But it was called, What is the Purpose of Sleep? And this article states that we sleep so that we can process and retain memories. Oh, I love memories. We sleep to learn new skills, to build muscles, to regulate emotional health, to digest our food, to repair injuries, to fight viruses, and so much more. So sleep is important. The need for sleep does put us in a state of this repetitive weakness. We are vulnerable when we're sleeping. We're actually open for attack. Have you ever had someone scare you awake? Well, in Psalm 130, verses 5 and 6, it talks about the need for watchmen, people staying awake in shifts so that others can sleep safely. Sleep is necessary, but it also puts us in a vulnerable place. Sleep is one of many things that actually differentiates us from God. God is always watching and working, never needing to sleep as we rely on Him. And us needing so many hours of sleep each day, it doesn't really make our character weak or less than. It leaves us strong and ready for another day. So the need for sleep, you could feel like that is a weakness, but we can look at it in a different way too. This need for sleep is actually our strength vitamin, I guess we could say. Jesus, God, born in the likeness of man, he slept. Jesus, who never sinned or disobeyed his Father, he allowed himself to be vulnerable in this way. Jesus also endured and experienced sleep deprivation for the sake of service. There were times when the presence of his disciples or the sick and needy crowds meant that he didn't get the ideal amount of sleep for his body. Jesus actually woke up early to go away by himself and be alone with God. Now, this is something that's really hard for me to do. I prefer nighttime. I'm not that morning person. Waking up early usually doesn't help me. What about you guys? Are you an early bird or a night owl? Oh, and Bev shows up. Hello, Bev. Welcome to the live today. Jesus stayed up in the garden before his arrest and crucifixion to pray and submit himself fully to the Father in the midst of horribly trying circumstances. I don't know about you, but do you ever go through something that is horribly trying on you? I have. And I want to think that I prioritize spending that time with God and submitting to Him, but oftentimes I just spend my time worrying and thinking too much and not getting the sleep that I need. Sleep is crucial. But then Jesus spent time with God to sustain himself. What can we learn here? I mean, my wheels are turning because I'm thinking that even when we are having those sleepless nights, if you are leaning on God and resting in Him, then He can give you that rest that you need for the next day. And as I shuffle around my house, wishing I wasn't so frazzled, and I think about how my life seems to be like, I don't know, a few good nights sleep away from crumbling, I got to remember that God is Lord. In the midst of sleep deprivation or extreme exhaustion, you don't have to give yourself a hard time. Its effects are real. You also don't have to give yourself a hard time for protecting and prioritizing sleep. A God created need in your life. Neither of these things makes you weak. We might feel weakened and humbled, looking forward to a day of ultimate and final rest. God is never tired, and He will see you through any circumstance, any situation, any trouble, any trying circumstance, because we are weak, but God is strong. So, who wants to build strength with God? If you put strong in the comments, I'll send you a devotional Bible study called Building Strength when it's ready. It should be done by next week, which is also our last week of this series, His Strength. We're going to be talking about when you need someone stronger. And I have kids trying to interrupt my live to talk to me, but they need to wait because we're just about done. I got to check the comments. Oh yeah, Bev was talking about me being a night owl. I'm definitely a night owl. She says she's a night owl too. Oh, and Tina's a night owl. Since she doesn't work, then you don't have to get up early. So you get to choose, and then you would rather be awake at night. Me too. I can get so much more done at night before bed than waking up early. Although there were seasons in my life where I was like, I'm going to try to get up at this time. And I was consistent about it. And there were moments when I felt really great waking up prior to kids or earlier for myself to have some quiet time or whatever it was. But I'm definitely more of a night owl. And now everything is different because I'm pregnant and I'm not looking forward to those sleepless nights again. Cole is 5 and I have readjusted my life to actually getting sleep. And I'm not looking forward to losing out on that part. But I guess in that season of newbornness and sleeping way less and feeding the baby often, I get to lean on His strength and He will give me rest. Yeah, so there we go. Okay. Thanks for being here today. I hope to see you in the comments next Friday at 12:30 Central. That's 1:30 Eastern, as long as my computer is up and running and we don't have a power outage and it's not going super slow. Remember to rest in Him this week. Happy connecting, everyone, and have a great weekend.